Dr. Amara Okafor, a 35-year-old African-American public health physician, stands as a beacon of hope and innovation in her field. Her journey to this point has not been without its challenges. As a child of immigrant parents, she learned the value of hard work and perseverance from an early age. Growing up in a modest neighborhood, she watched her parents strive tirelessly to provide for their family, instilling in her a deep respect for education and community service. Today she works at one of the most prestigious urban hospitals, renowned for its cutting-edge research and commitment to public health. On this beautiful, sun-drenched morning, Amara finds herself energized by the promise of a new day. She gazes out the window of her apartment, admiring the vibrant colors of the city, awakening beneath the clear blue sky. After dressing in an elegant navy blue business suit that complements her figure, she selects a stylish Gucci bag, its glossy surface gleaming in the morning light, a symbol of her accomplishments and the confidence she carries. Amara knows that the right outfit can impact how people perceive her, especially as a black woman in a predominantly white medical field. As she walks down the bustling city street, Amara savors the anticipation of the day ahead. She is headed to her favorite cafe, a cozy spot filled with the rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee and baked goods, where she plans to meet her close friend, Dr. Lisa Johnson. Their friendship, forged during their college years, has been a source of strength and support through life's inevitable ups and downs. Lisa, a psychologist specializing in mental health, has always been a calming presence in Amara's life, offering sage advice and empathetic listening. Upon entering the cafe, the familiar sound of the espresso machine whirring fills Amara's ears, bringing a smile to her face. The cafe is adorned with local art, colorful murals, and plants that breathe life into the space. She spots Lisa seated at their usual table, her curly hair cascading over her shoulders, immersed in her notes. As Amara approaches, Lisa looks up and beams, her bright smile lighting up the room. "Hey, Amara! You're right on time," Lisa exclaims, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "I've been going over the presentation for today's workshop. I'm so excited." Amara takes a seat across from her, placing her Gucci bag carefully on the chair beside her. "Me too. I think we're going to make a real impact today. The topic is so relevant, especially with everything happening in our community." Their conversation flows effortlessly as they sip their coffees, Amara's rich mocha and Lisa's herbal tea, discussing their plans for the workshop. They are both passionate about advancing healthcare and mental health awareness, believing that the two fields are interconnected. As they brainstorm ideas, Amara feels a sense of gratitude for Lisa's unwavering support. They often joke that they are each other's work wives, a title that captures the depth of their bond. The cafe begins to fill with other patrons, each absorbed in their own worlds. Amara glances around, observing the diverse clientele. Students hunched over laptops, professionals enjoying their morning routines, and families sharing breakfast. Each person carries a unique story, a fragment of life that contributes to the rich tapestry of the city. In that moment, she reflects on her role in this vibrant community and the responsibilities that come with it. "Do you think we should incorporate some personal stories into the presentation?" Lisa suggests, her eyes alight with ideas. "I feel like sharing our experiences might resonate more with the audience." Amara nods thoughtfully. "Absolutely. People connect with authenticity. If we share our journeys and the challenges we've faced, it might inspire others to speak up and seek help when they need it." As they finalize their presentation details, Amara's phone buzzes with a notification. It's a message from Dr. Patel, her colleague and fellow presenter, confirming the logistics for the workshop. She reads it aloud, excitement bubbling in her voice. "Dr. Patel says he'll meet us at the hospital by 1 p.m. We're going to crush this workshop." The warmth of camaraderie envelops them as they share laughter and encouragement, setting the tone for what they hope will be a transformative event. Amara feels a surge of determination as they prepare to step into the spotlight and advocate for change in healthcare, especially for marginalized communities that often go unheard. Finishing their coffees, Amara glances at her watch. "We should head over to the hospital. I want to get there early to set up and maybe calm some of those pre-presentation jitters. Lisa agrees, gathering her things as they rise from the table. Amara's heart races with anticipation, her mind racing through the multitude of thoughts swirling within her. Today is not just about a workshop. It's an opportunity to give voice to the voiceless, to bridge the gaps in understanding between healthcare providers and the communities they serve. As they step out of the cafe, the sun casts a warm glow over them. Amara walks with purpose, feeling the weight of her mission on her shoulders, but also the thrill of potential change in the air. With Lisa by her side, she feels invincible, ready to take on whatever challenges may come their way. Together, they are a force, united in their passion for healthcare and the belief that change is possible. The day ahead promises to be one filled with hope, inspiration, and perhaps even the beginning of a movement towards greater awareness and understanding in their community. Amara takes a deep breath, ready to embrace the day and all that it holds. As Amara and Lisa leave the cafe, the sun bathes the city in golden light, casting long shadows on the pavement. They are both buoyed by their earlier conversation, animatedly discussing the workshop, when Amara notices a figure standing by the cafe entrance. A white security guard named Kevin. His uniform is crisp, but his expression is anything but welcoming. Kevin's gaze fixates on Amara's expensive Gucci bag, the signature logo catching the light. A flicker of suspicion crosses his face, revealing the preconceived notions he harbors about wealth and race. His body language shifts from casual to confrontational as he strides toward them, his demeanor radiating an unspoken challenge. "Excuse me, but I need to ask you," Kevin states, his voice laced with skepticism. "Can you tell me how you came to have that bag?" Amara feels a rush of shock and indignation welling up inside her. She has encountered her fair share of ignorance in her career, but this overtly accusatory tone grates against her sense of dignity. She knows that she owes him no explanation, yet in that moment, her confidence wavers under the weight of his inquiry. Lisa, sensing the shift in the atmosphere, steps slightly in front of Amara. "Why does that matter?" she asks, her voice steady but filled with a protective undertone. "Do you think that just because she's black and has a nice bag, she doesn't deserve it?" Kevin shifts uncomfortably, his defensiveness rising. "I'm just doing my job," he replies, though the rigidity in his stance suggests he is not entirely convinced of his own justification. Amara takes a breath, trying to steady her racing heart. This isn't just about the bag. It's a manifestation of the systemic biases that permeate their society. She feels the weight of history pressing down on her, the struggles of her ancestors, the sacrifices made for her to stand here today as a successful physician. Yet, here she is, being reduced to a stereotype in the eyes of a man who knows nothing of her journey. "I bought this bag with my own money, earned through years of education and hard work," Amara states firmly, her voice calm but resolute. "I don't owe you an explanation, but I'm offering you one to challenge your assumptions." Kevin seems taken aback by her response, the challenge evident in her tone. There's a flicker of recognition in his eyes, as if he is forced to confront the uncomfortable truth of his own biases. Yet, instead of retreating, he digs in, trying to maintain his authority. "I just have to be careful with who I let into this establishment. We've had issues before." Amara feels her indignation rising again. "What issues?" she asks, her tone pointed. "Because of people who look like me?" Lisa steps closer to Amara, sensing her friend's frustration simmering just beneath the surface. "This isn't about security, it's about your prejudice. You see someone who looks different, and your first instinct is to question their worth. That's not just unfair, it's dangerous." Kevin's face hardens, and for a moment it seems as though he might double down on his position. But then, the tension in the air shifts as the cafe manager, a middle-aged Latina woman named Rosa, approaches the scene. She glances between the trio, sensing the charged atmosphere. "Is there a problem here?" Rosa inquires, her voice steady, yet warm, attempting to diffuse the situation. Amara turns to Rosa, grateful for her presence. This security guard is questioning my right to carry my bag simply because of its brand and my skin color, she explains, feeling empowered by the opportunity to speak her truth. Rosa's eyes narrow slightly as she looks at Kevin, her expression firm. I trust the people in my cafe. If there's no real concern, I suggest you step back and reconsider your approach, Kevin. This isn't how we treat our customers. With Rosa's intervention, the dynamic shifts. Kevin's bravado begins to falter, his shoulders drooping slightly as he realizes he is outnumbered and outmaneuvered. The weight of societal expectations begins to press down on him, forcing him to confront the prejudice that had dictated his initial actions. Amara takes a breath, feeling the tension in her chest begin to ease, though her heart still pounds with residual anger. Thank you, Rosa, she says softly, appreciating the solidarity in the face of injustice. Rosa nods, giving Amara an encouraging smile. We need to support each other. Don't let anyone make you feel small for who you are or what you've achieved. With that, she turns to Kevin, her voice steady but firm. And I suggest you think long and hard about how you approach people in the future. As Kevin mumbles an apology and steps back, the weight of the moment lingers in the air. Amara feels a mix of relief and exhaustion wash over her, the adrenaline of the confrontation leaving her drained. She looks at Lisa, who gives her a reassuring nod, silently conveying that they can move forward from this moment stronger than before. Let's get to the hospital, Amara says, her voice steadier now. We have a workshop to lead. As they walk away from the cafe, Amara can't help but reflect on the incident. The world can often feel like a battleground, with prejudice lurking around every corner. Yet in the face of adversity, she finds solace in the strength of her relationships, like the one she shares with Lisa, and the resolve to continue her work in public health. The workshop awaits, and with it comes the opportunity to address not just the challenges within healthcare, but also the social injustices that impede progress. They reach the hospital, its imposing facade a reminder of the battles fought within its walls. With each step, Amara steels herself for the task ahead, knowing that today's events are just a small part of a larger fight for equity and understanding in her community. As they enter the bustling hospital, the familiar sights and sounds of medical professionals in action fill the air. Amara can feel the tension of the morning begin to fade, replaced by a renewed sense of purpose. She heads toward the conference room, where the workshop will be held, envisioning the discussions to come. The room is set up with chairs arranged in a semicircle, fostering an environment conducive to open dialogue. Amara takes a moment to gather her thoughts, drawing strength from the realization that every conversation, every workshop has the potential to create ripples of change. As Lisa begins to set up the audio-visual equipment, Amara flips through her notes, her mind racing with ideas on how to address the audience. She wants to emphasize the importance of empathy in healthcare and the need to listen to the stories of those they serve. The incident with Kevin weighs heavily on her, but it also fuels her determination to advocate for understanding and respect. Are you ready? Lisa asks, glancing up from her preparations. There's a sense of camaraderie in her gaze, a shared understanding of the significance of their work. Amara nods, a smile breaking through her earlier tension. Let's do this. The clock ticks down to the start time, and the room begins to fill with attendees. Doctors, nurses, community leaders, and advocates, all eager to engage in discussions that could shape the future of healthcare in their city. As Amara takes her place at the front of the room, she feels a surge of energy. This is why I do what I do, she thinks, glancing at Lisa, who gives her an encouraging thumbs up. Amara straightens her shoulders, takes a deep breath, and prepares to share her vision for a more equitable healthcare system, one where everyone's voice matters, and no one is judged by the color of their skin or the brands they carry. The workshop begins, and Amara dives into her presentation, intertwining personal anecdotes with data, painting a picture of the healthcare landscape that is both informative and relatable. She notices the audience engaged, nodding and understanding as she speaks about the need for systemic change and the importance of listening to patients' narratives. As the discussion unfolds, Amara is struck by how the incident with Kevin has only strengthened her resolve. Each question from the audience is an opportunity to bridge the gap between healthcare providers and the communities they serve. Amara feels empowered, her words resonating with a passion that is contagious. By the end of the workshop, she has successfully fostered a dialogue about race, privilege, and the imperative of compassion in healthcare. The attendees leave buzzing with ideas and reflections, a testament to the potential for change ignited in that room. As Amara and Lisa pack up, Lisa turns to her, a wide grin on her face. "You were incredible. I think we really made a difference today." Amara feels a swell of pride and gratitude for the journey they've embarked on together. "I couldn't have done it without you, Lisa. Your support means the world to me." They exit the conference room, their hearts lighter after a day filled with purpose and progress. The tension from earlier seems like a distant memory, replaced by the hope of what they can achieve as advocates for change. As they walk through the bustling hospital corridors, Amara knows this is just the beginning. They still have much work to do, work that will require strength, resilience, and the unwavering belief that together they can make a difference. Today, they have not only confronted prejudice, they have also laid the groundwork for understanding and empathy within the healthcare system. Amara feels invigorated by the potential for change, fueled by the knowledge that every step forward, no matter how small, brings them closer to a more equitable future. With renewed determination, Amara and Lisa step out into the world, ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead, committed to their mission of fostering understanding and compassion in the healthcare landscape. Lisa quickly stands up for Amara, asserting her friend's credibility. "Kevin, she's a doctor and that's her bag. There's no reason for you to doubt her," she insists, her voice steady but laced with frustration. She stands firm, shoulders squared as if ready to take on the weight of the world to defend Amara's honor. However, Kevin remains unmoved, digging in his heels as he justifies his actions. "There are a lot of thieves in this area," he retorts, the edge in his tone revealing his stubbornness. The accusation feels like a heavy blow to Amara, who is painfully aware of the stereotypes often placed upon people of color. Amara's heart races as she feels the piercing gazes of passers-by, their expressions a mix of curiosity and judgment. Some stop to stare, while others hastily avert their eyes, as if choosing ignorance over the discomfort of confrontation. The upscale environment, which should feel welcoming and luxurious, suddenly seems suffocating and hostile. The world around her blurs as she contemplates calling for help. But the idea of drawing further attention to herself feels overwhelming. The very people who could stand in solidarity with her choose to disengage, amplifying her sense of isolation. It's a moment that crystallizes her fears, a stark reminder that even in success, she may not be safe from the biases that linger in society. Is this really what we've come to? Amara thinks, her mind racing as she grapples with the weight of the moment. Here she stands, a respected physician, yet reduced to a stereotype simply because of her skin color and the bag she carries. This confrontation is more than an interaction with a security guard. It symbolizes the systemic racism that permeates everyday life. "Kevin, can't you see you're perpetuating the very biases we're trying to overcome?" Lisa interjects, her voice rising slightly as she attempts to reach through to him. "This isn't about your job. It's about treating people with dignity and respect. Just because someone looks a certain way doesn't mean they're guilty of anything." But Kevin's expression remains rigid, and he takes a step closer to Amara, his stance imposing. "Look, I'm just following protocol. You wouldn't understand what it's like out here. Always on guard." He shoots back, his defensiveness only serving to deepen the divide between them. Amara's heart sinks as she realizes that no amount of reason will penetrate the walls he has built around himself. She feels a sense of helplessness wash over her, but Lisa refuses to back down. "You're right, we might not live your reality," she says, "but that doesn't excuse the way you're treating her. What you're doing is unjust." As tensions escalate, Amara stands silently, grappling with her emotions. Anger flares inside her, but so does the desire for understanding. She wishes Kevin could see her as a person rather than a potential threat. This moment feels like a pivotal junction, not just for her, but for all those who have faced similar situations. The atmosphere thickens, and Amara glances at the bystanders once more, hoping for a flicker of empathy, a nod of support. Instead, she sees discomfort painted across their faces as they whisper among themselves, seemingly discussing the situation without engaging. Why won't anyone help? She wonders, feeling abandoned in her fight for dignity. The longer the confrontation drags on, the more Amara feels the weight of the moment bearing down on her. A sudden rush of determination surges within her. "I refuse to be a victim of your assumptions," she finally says, her voice cutting through the tension. "I am a physician, and I've dedicated my life to helping others. This bag is a symbol of my hard work and success, not a mark of suspicion." Kevin's eyes flicker, and for the briefest moment, she thinks he might soften, but his brow furrows in defiance. "I get that, but nothing," Lisa interrupts. "You need to understand that you're perpetuating a cycle of prejudice. You're not doing your job by assuming guilt based solely on appearance. It's people like you who make it harder for those trying to make a difference." Amara feels a swell of gratitude for Lisa's unwavering support. It emboldens her, and she stands taller, refusing to let this encounter define her. "I'm not here to argue about the merits of my possessions," she continues, "but I won't allow you to undermine my credibility as a professional based on your biases." In that moment, Amara realizes that this confrontation isn't merely personal. It's part of a larger narrative about race, privilege, and the ongoing struggle for dignity. She glances around once more, searching for a sign of solidarity, a nod from the onlookers that they, too, understand the gravity of this moment. Suddenly, an older black woman steps forward from the crowd, her face etched with wisdom and resolve. "Young lady," she says, addressing Amara, "you stand proud, and don't let anyone take that away from you. You are deserving of respect and recognition no matter what." Amara feels a surge of warmth as she absorbs the woman's words. It's a reminder that they are not alone in this fight, that countless others have faced similar battles and emerged victorious. The older woman turns her gaze to Kevin, her voice steady. "You should be ashamed of yourself for questioning her based solely on her appearance. It's people like you who perpetuate the stereotypes that hold us back." Kevin's face reddens, and for the first time, he appears uncertain. The crowd around them begins to murmur, a ripple of agreement echoing through the onlookers. Amara can feel the shift in energy as more people begin to rally in support of her and Lisa, the collective power of shared experiences pushing back against the ignorance of one. "I was wrong to question you," Kevin finally mutters, the weight of the moment pressing heavily on his shoulders. Sorry isn't enough," Amara cuts in, the fire in her voice rising once again. "You need to understand the impact of your actions. This isn't just about an expensive bag. It's about acknowledging the biases that exist in our society and choosing to rise above them." The older woman nods in agreement, her eyes fierce with conviction. "And it's about holding people accountable, like you, Kevin. You have the power to change how you interact with others, and that's what you must do." The crowd begins to disperse, but the tension lingers in the air. Amara stands tall, feeling a sense of triumph mingled with fatigue. The confrontation has drained her, yet it has also ignited a fire within. She knows this moment will be a catalyst for change, not just for herself, but for others who find themselves in similar situations. As she walks away with Lisa, the warmth of support wraps around them like a comforting blanket. "You were amazing," Lisa praises, her admiration evident. You stood your ground, and that was powerful. Thank you for having my back, Amara replies, her heart swelling with gratitude. It means more than you know. As they make their way toward the hospital, Amara reflects on the events of the day. This experience has reinforced her belief in the importance of advocacy and education. It's clear that conversations about race and privilege need to happen, not just in private, but in public spaces where they can create real change. Let's make it a priority to address these issues in our work, Amara suggests, her mind racing with ideas for future workshops. We need to create an environment where everyone feels safe and respected. Lisa nods, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Absolutely. This is our chance to bring these conversations to the forefront, not just in our hospital, but in the community. As they reach the hospital entrance, Amara feels a renewed sense of purpose. This day may have begun with confrontation, but it has transformed into an opportunity for growth and understanding. Together, they can foster a culture of empathy, challenging biases, and creating a more inclusive environment for all. With her heart full of determination, Amara steps into the hospital, ready to face the challenges ahead. She knows that every encounter, every conversation, is a step toward change, a testament to the power of resilience and the strength found in community. With the situation intensifying, Kevin takes a step back and pulls out his phone, his demeanor shifting from confrontational to procedural. Amara watches with a mix of dread and disbelief as he calls the building manager, Ms. Lillian Green. The anticipation of her arrival looms over them like a thundercloud, heavy with the promise of further scrutiny. When Miss Green arrives, her presence is commanding. Dressed in a tailored blazer, her posture radiates authority, but there's an edge to her demeanor that sends a chill down Amara's spine. She surveys the scene, her sharp gaze moving from Kevin to Amara, and finally landing on Lisa, who stands protectively beside her friend. "What's going on here?" Ms. Green demands, her voice firm and unwavering. Kevin quickly relays the story, exaggerating the details as if to justify his initial skepticism. "She's got this expensive bag, and I just wanted to make sure it wasn't stolen. We can't have suspicious situations like this in our community," he says, his tone laced with a mix of authority and defensiveness. Ms. Green's expression hardens as she turns her attention to Amara. "And you are?" she asks, her tone almost accusatory. Amara feels the weight of the question press down on her, a reminder that her accomplishments mean little in the face of prejudice. "I'm Dr. Amara Okafor," she replies, trying to maintain her composure despite the humiliation bubbling just beneath the surface. "I work at the hospital down the street. This bag is mine. I purchased it as a reward for my hard work." Lillian Green raises an eyebrow, her skepticism evident. "Can you prove that bag belongs to you?" she inquires, her voice cutting through Amara's defenses. The question feels like a trap, one that forces Amara to grapple with the indignity of having to validate her existence and success. Amara's mind races. She knows she shouldn't have to prove herself to anyone, especially in a space she frequents. Yet, as Ms. Green's gaze pierces through her, Amara can feel the corners of her confidence beginning to fray. "I don't have the receipt on me, but I assure you, it's mine," she insists, her voice steady despite the tremor of uncertainty in her gut. Ms. Green's lips tighten into a thin line. "If you cannot provide proof, I will have to call the police. We cannot allow this kind of behavior to disrupt our community." Her words echo in Amara's ears, a chilling ultimatum that sends her heart racing. The idea of law enforcement being summoned fills her with dread, the possibility of being treated like a criminal looming larger than ever. Lisa steps forward, her frustration boiling over. "This is absurd. You can't seriously think a doctor would steal a handbag. This is a blatant display of racism," she exclaims, her voice rising with indignation. "Amara has every right to be here, and your actions are unjustified." But Ms. Green remains unfazed, her focus trained on Amara, as if she were a suspect in a crime rather than a respected member of the community. I'm not here to discuss race or bias, she replies coolly. I'm here to ensure the safety and integrity of this building. If there's any doubt, I have to act. The bystanders who had gathered, their eyes wide with shock, begin to murmur amongst themselves, a cacophony of whispers that only deepens Amara's sense of vulnerability. She feels exposed, her worth stripped away, as the crowd watches the spectacle unfold. Is anyone going to say something? Amara thinks, her gaze darting from one face to another, searching for support but finding only a sea of indifference. The isolation presses down on her, and she feels small beneath the weight of their judgment. Miss Green, Lisa pleads, trying to rein in her emotions. This isn't just about the bag, it's about the message you're sending. You're perpetuating a culture of suspicion and fear, and that's not what our community stands for. Amara feels a flicker of hope at Lisa's words, but Ms. Green's expression doesn't shift. Instead, she remains stoic, determined to uphold her authority at all costs. I will not tolerate any disruption in this building. If you cannot prove ownership, I'm afraid I have no choice. The words hang heavy in the air, a final verdict that leaves Amara feeling cornered, humiliated, and vulnerable. The gravity of the moment swells, and she senses the weight of the eyes around her, judging, speculating, perhaps even reveling in the drama. Taking a deep breath, Amara steadies herself, calling on every ounce of resilience she possesses. You know, she begins, her voice clear and steady, it's not about the bag. It's about the assumptions you're making based on my appearance. You're treating me as if I'm a criminal instead of a person. For the first time, a flicker of uncertainty passes over Ms. Green's face, as if Amara's words are beginning to penetrate the shield of authority she has built around herself. I assure you, I'm not making assumptions. I'm simply following protocol. She defends, but her voice lacks conviction. Protocol? Amara retorts, her frustration boiling over. Is protocol a cover for prejudice? Do you truly believe that questioning someone's character based solely on their appearance is acceptable? I've worked too hard to be reduced to this. With those words, Amara feels the tide begin to turn. The murmurs in the crowd shift from speculation to support as several people nod in agreement. A young woman steps forward, her voice filled with conviction. She's right. This isn't about safety. It's about profiling. We need to do better. Encouraged, Amara presses on, her heart racing with newfound determination. This bag may symbolize my success, but it doesn't define who I am. I am more than my possessions. I am a doctor, a community member, and a person deserving of respect. Lillian Green's expression shifts slightly, her resolve wavering as the crowd begins to back Amara. The support of those around her gives Amara the strength to stand tall, to be unapologetically herself. Let me ask you this, Ms. Green, Amara challenges, locking eyes with the manager. What are you truly afraid of? A handbag or the possibility of confronting your own biases? The crowd holds its breath, the tension palpable as they await Ms. Green's response. For a moment, it seems as if the world has stopped, the air heavy with anticipation. Finally, Lillian exhales slowly, her facade beginning to crack. I don't want trouble, she admits reluctantly, the walls of her authority starting to crumble. But we have to ensure everyone feels safe here. Safety doesn't come from suspicion, Amara replies, her tone softening. It comes from understanding, from community, from recognizing our shared humanity. We can create a safe environment without tearing each other down. Ms. Green glances at the bystanders, taking in the collective support for Amara, a realization dawning on her. The authority she once held is now called into question, her actions scrutinized under the light of accountability. Perhaps, she begins hesitantly, her voice trembling with uncertainty. Perhaps I could have approached this differently. The crowd erupts into supportive murmurs, and Amara feels a swell of hope as she sees a glimmer of understanding in Ms. Green's eyes. This moment is not just a victory for her, but for everyone who has ever faced prejudice. "Thank you," Amara says, her voice steady and sincere. "It's never too late to choose empathy over judgment. We can all learn from this." As the tension slowly dissipates, Amara stands tall, the weight of the moment transforming into a sense of liberation. This confrontation may have tested her resilience, but it has also forged new connections within the community, a reminder of the power of solidarity. With a newfound sense of purpose, Amara walks away from the situation, surrounded by the warmth of support. She knows that this is just the beginning of a long journey toward change, but today has reinforced her belief in the importance of advocacy and understanding. As she and Lisa leave the scene, Amara reflects on the experience, a mix of emotions swirling within her. "We must continue to have these conversations," she tells Lisa. "There's so much work to be done, but together we can create a better world." Lisa nods, her eyes shining with determination. "Absolutely. This is just the first step. We'll make sure our voices are heard, and we'll stand up for what's right." Amara smiles, feeling a sense of camaraderie that strengthens her resolve. The fight for equality and understanding may be daunting, but she knows she is not alone in this journey. Together, they will forge a path toward a more inclusive future. As they walk away, Amara glances back one last time, a quiet sense of victory swelling within her. This chapter may have begun with confrontation, but it has evolved into something far more powerful, a call to action, a reminder that change begins with individuals willing to stand up for what is right. Angela, a seasoned journalist with a keen eye for social justice issues, is passing by when she catches sight of the drama unfolding in front of her. The scene is distressing. The tension is palpable as a crowd gathers, their expressions a mix of curiosity and concern. She instinctively pulls out her phone, documenting the incident with the intent to shine a light on what she perceives as a blatant act of racial profiling. "This is unacceptable," she murmurs to herself, her pulse quickening as she approaches the confrontation. She recognizes Amara from community events and knows her reputation as a respected doctor. Yet here she stands, cornered and humiliated, her dignity stripped away under the scrutinizing gaze of the crowd. Angela's heart races, fueled by her commitment to justice. "Hey!" Angela calls out, stepping into the fray with purpose. "What's going on here? I've been following this story, and I won't stand by while this unfolds." The crowd parts slightly as she moves forward, her presence commanding attention. Kevin, caught off guard by the sudden intervention, turns to face her, his expression a mix of surprise and annoyance. "This doesn't concern you," he retorts, his voice defensive. "I'm just doing my job." Angela's gaze narrows, her journalistic instincts kicking in. "And what exactly is your job? To racially profile someone based on their appearance? Because that's what it looks like from where I'm standing," she asserts, her voice steady and unwavering. Amara glances at Angela, a flicker of hope igniting within her. She realizes that this journalist is not only documenting the moment, but also standing up for her in a way that she wishes she could do herself. The emotional weight of the situation is becoming almost unbearable, and having someone in her corner is a small comfort amid the chaos. "This woman," Angela continues, gesturing toward Amara, "is a doctor, a valuable member of our community. She deserves respect, not suspicion." Her words resonate with the crowd, stirring murmurs of agreement among onlookers who have been quietly observing. Ms. Green shifts uncomfortably, her authority challenged by Angela's bold stance. "I'm simply ensuring the safety of this building," she insists, but there's a quiver in her voice now, as if the ground beneath her is beginning to shake. Angela shakes her head, her frustration palpable. Safety doesn't come from targeting people because of their race or what they're wearing. It comes from fostering an environment of trust and understanding. What you're doing is perpetuating a culture of fear. Tension rises to a boiling point as the crowd begins to rally around Amara, the collective energy shifting in her favor. The murmurs of support grow louder as people express their disbelief at the situation. Amara can feel her heart pounding in her chest, the weight of their attention both uplifting and overwhelming. "Amara," Angela calls, her tone softening as she addresses the doctor directly. "Are you okay? Do you need me to help you?" The concern in her voice is genuine, and Amara can see that Angela is here not just as a journalist, but as an ally. Taking a deep breath, Amara tries to summon her strength. "I just want to be treated like anyone else," she replies, her voice quivering slightly. "I didn't expect to be questioned like this in a place where I feel I should belong." Angela nods, empathy evident in her eyes. "You do belong here. You've worked hard for your place in this community, and no one should take that away from you." She raises her phone, filming the interaction, determined to capture the truth of the moment. As the camera clicks, Angela turns her attention back to Kevin and Ms. Green. "You need to understand the impact of your actions. This isn't just about a handbag. It's about the broader implications of systemic racism that affect real people's lives. It's about creating a community where everyone feels safe and valued." Kevin's bravado begins to falter as he realizes the mounting pressure from the crowd and the unwavering stance of Angela. "I was just trying to do my job," he mutters, but the defensiveness in his voice betrays a hint of uncertainty. "That's not an excuse for what you've done," Angela replies, her voice firm yet measured. "Your job should involve protecting and serving the community, not instilling fear in its members. You have the power to change the narrative here." The atmosphere shifts as bystanders begin to openly express their frustration. "This isn't right," someone shouts from the back, their voice piercing through the tension. "Amara deserves respect." With the tide turning against them, Kevin and Miss Green exchange glances, their authority waning. Amara stands at the center of it all, feeling both the weight of the situation and the power of solidarity. The emotional toll has been exhausting, but with Angela's support, she feels a renewed sense of strength. Amara takes a step forward, her voice steady. "I'm not here to cause trouble. I'm here to build a better community. We should be lifting each other up, not tearing each other down." Her words resonate, echoing the sentiments of those gathered around her. Angela smiles, proud of Amara's bravery. "That's right, and it starts with having difficult conversations and holding each other accountable." As the crowd begins to rally around Amara, the solidarity becomes palpable, creating a wave of support that washes over her. The emotional weight of the moment begins to lift, replaced by a sense of empowerment and community. "Let's not let this moment slip away," Angela urges, her journalist instincts kicking into high gear. "We need to ensure that this incident doesn't go unnoticed. It's time to bring these issues to light." The crowd nods in agreement, the resolve growing stronger with each passing moment. Amara realizes that this is not just her fight, but a collective struggle against injustice. They will not be silenced. They will stand together to challenge the status quo. As Angela continues documenting the incident, Amara feels a sense of clarity emerging from the chaos. She knows that she must continue advocating for herself and others who face similar challenges. This moment of crisis has transformed into an opportunity for change, and she is determined to seize it. "Thank you, Angela," Amara says, her voice steady and grateful. "I appreciate your support more than you know. Together we can make a difference." With the crowd rallying behind them, Angela nods, her heart swelling with pride. "We're in this together, Amara. Let's keep fighting for what's right." As they stand united, the scene begins to shift. The fear and humiliation that once weighed heavily on Amara are now replaced by a sense of purpose. This confrontation may have started as a crisis, but it is quickly evolving into a catalyst for change. As the tension dissipates and the crowd begins to disperse, Amara feels a renewed sense of hope. The fight for equality is far from over, but she knows she is not alone in this journey. With the support of her community, she is ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead. Just as the tension in the air reaches a critical point, Dr. Patel, a respected colleague of Amara, arrives on the scene. His presence brings a wave of relief as he quickly assesses the seriousness of the situation. He strides forward with purpose, his professional demeanor cutting through the uncertainty surrounding them. "I just spoke with Amara," Dr. Patel begins, addressing the crowd with authority. "She is a physician at this hospital, and I can confirm her credentials." His words echo with confidence, and the power of his position as a fellow doctor lends immediate credibility to Amara's claims. Kevin's expression shifts from skepticism to shock, his earlier bravado evaporating in the face of Dr. Patel's unwavering support. Ms. Green looks equally stunned, her previous confidence now undermined by the swift intervention of someone who knows Amara well. With Dr. Patel's intervention, the scrutiny on Amara finally begins to dissipate. The crowd, which had been a mixture of onlookers and supporters, now shifts in their collective energy. They begin to express their relief, their murmurs transforming into supportive whispers. "I'm sorry," Kevin stammers, glancing at Amara, his tone betraying an unexpected humility. "I didn't mean to assume—" He trails off, the weight of his actions beginning to settle in. The realization of his mistakes hangs heavily in the air as he struggles to articulate his regret. Ms. Green, too, seems to come to terms with the gravity of the situation. "I apologize for my approach, Amara," she states, her voice wavering slightly. "I acted too quickly without understanding the full context." The sincerity in her tone softens the atmosphere, but the damage of the incident still lingers in the air. Amara stands quietly, absorbing their apologies. The embarrassment and trauma of being unjustly accused weigh heavily on her heart, and while she knows that their apologies are a step in the right direction, the emotional scars of the encounter are not so easily erased. She feels the eyes of the crowd on her, a mix of sympathy and curiosity, and she takes a moment to collect her thoughts. "Thank you for your apologies," Amara replies, her voice steady but laden with the remnants of her earlier distress. "I appreciate that you both recognize the impact of this situation. It's important to remember that assumptions based on appearances can have real consequences." Her words carry the weight of her experience, resonating with those who had gathered around them. As the crowd begins to disperse, murmurs of agreement ripple through the group. People nod in understanding, and some offer their own experiences, sharing stories of similar incidents where they felt judged or misunderstood. It becomes clear that Amara's encounter has sparked a broader conversation about racial profiling and the need for empathy and understanding in their community. Dr. Patel steps closer to Amara, his expression one of concern. "I'm really sorry you had to go through this, Amara. You're one of the best doctors I know, and you deserve to be treated with respect." His supportive words bolster Amara's spirit, reminding her that not everyone holds the same prejudices. "Thank you, Dr. Patel," she replies, feeling a sense of validation in his support. "I know that this situation is not reflective of our hospital or the people I work with. It's just a reminder of the biases that still exist in our society." Her voice grows stronger, empowered by the realization that she is not alone in her struggle. Angela, still present and documenting the aftermath of the incident, approaches Amara with a warm smile. "You handled that incredibly well. It takes courage to stand up for yourself in such a vulnerable situation. I'd like to help you share your story, to highlight this issue so that we can work towards change." Her enthusiasm is infectious, and Amara feels a spark of hope igniting within her. "I'd like that," Amara replies, her heart swelling with appreciation. "It's important to raise awareness about these issues, and I'm grateful to have someone like you willing to lend a voice." The thought of sharing her experience feels empowering, as if she can turn her pain into a catalyst for change. As the sun begins to set, casting a warm glow over the cafe, the atmosphere shifts from one of confrontation to collaboration. People begin to gather their belongings, exchanging numbers and pledging to keep the conversation alive. The sense of community that emerges from the experience is uplifting, and Amara feels a renewed sense of purpose. "Let's organize a community forum," Angela suggests, her eyes bright with possibility. "We can invite local leaders, healthcare professionals, and community members to discuss these issues openly. It's time for us to have these conversations and make sure that everyone feels safe and respected." Amara nods enthusiastically. "Yes, I'd love to be involved in that. I want to share my story, not just for myself, but for anyone who has felt marginalized or unfairly judged." The thought of creating a platform for dialogue resonates deeply with her, and she can already envision the impact they could have together. With plans forming for future discussions, the group begins to disperse, but the connections forged during the confrontation remain strong. Amara exchanges numbers with Angela and others who had stood in solidarity with her, feeling a sense of camaraderie that she hadn't anticipated. As she walks away from the cafe, Amara reflects on the day's events. The trauma of being confronted in such a public way still lingers, but she recognizes the strength that emerged from it. She knows that she has the power to advocate for herself and others, and she is determined to use her voice to effect change. The experience has changed her. It has awakened a desire to challenge the status quo and to push for a society where everyone is treated with dignity and respect. As she returns to her work at the hospital, Amara feels a renewed sense of commitment to her profession and her community. In the coming weeks, the plans for the community forum take shape, drawing in support from various organizations and individuals who share a vision for equality and understanding. Amara becomes a central figure in the planning, her story inspiring others to speak out against prejudice and injustice. The event ultimately serves as a powerful reminder of the strength found in unity and the importance of standing up against discrimination in all its forms. Amara's courage to confront her own experience transforms not only her life, but the lives of those around her, igniting a movement toward change in their community. As the forum approaches, Amara prepares to share her story, knowing that her voice can make a difference. She reflects on the journey that has led her to this moment, the challenges she has faced, the allies she has found, and the resilience she has developed. It's a journey of healing, understanding, and growth, one that she is eager to continue. In the end, Amara learns that while the scars of her experience may remain, they serve as a testament to her strength and determination to create a better future. With every story shared, every voice amplified, they move one step closer to building a community where everyone feels valued and accepted. In the aftermath of the incident, the community begins to reflect on the responsibility they have in addressing racial profiling and the biases that underlie it. Amara feels a renewed sense of purpose, driven by the desire to turn her painful experience into a catalyst for change. With the support of her friends and colleagues, Lisa, Angela, and Dr. Patel, they decide to host a workshop at the hospital aimed at sharing their experiences and promoting awareness of social justice issues. The four of them gather in Amara's office, brainstorming ideas and outlining their approach to the workshop. The atmosphere is charged with enthusiasm as they share stories of their own encounters with prejudice, each story contributing to a tapestry of experiences that highlight the pervasive nature of discrimination. We need to create a safe space where people can openly discuss their experiences and learn from each other, Lisa suggests, her passion evident in her voice. It's not just about sharing our stories, it's about fostering understanding and empathy. Angela nods in agreement. Absolutely. We should incorporate interactive activities that encourage participation and make the subject more relatable. People learn best when they're engaged. Dr. Patel leans forward, his brow furrowed in thought. We can also invite speakers from different backgrounds, experts in social justice, community leaders, and even individuals who have experienced racial profiling firsthand. Their insights will enrich the conversation. With a solid plan forming, they start to outline the key topics they want to address. They agree to include discussions on the history of racial profiling, its psychological impact on victims, and practical strategies for recognizing and combating prejudice in daily life. The goal is to empower participants with knowledge and tools they can use to advocate for change in their own communities. As they finalize the details, Amara feels a sense of hope blossoming within her. The workshop is not just a response to her own experiences, it's an opportunity to build a network of allies dedicated to promoting social justice and equality. She knows that conversations about race and discrimination can be uncomfortable, but she believes they are essential for progress. With the workshop date approaching, the team spreads the word through social media, flyers, and word of mouth. They emphasize the importance of community involvement, encouraging people from all backgrounds to attend. This isn't just about race, it's about creating a more inclusive society for everyone, Amara tells her colleagues at the hospital. The more diverse voices we have, the richer the conversation will be. On the day of the workshop, the hospital auditorium buzzes with anticipation. Amara stands at the entrance, greeting participants as they arrive. She notices a diverse crowd, healthcare workers, local residents, and even some students from nearby schools. Their willingness to engage in this dialogue reassures her that change is possible. As the workshop begins, Amara takes the stage alongside her friends. She feels a mixture of nerves and excitement as she addresses the audience. "Thank you all for being here today," she begins, her voice steady and clear. "We're here to share our experiences, to listen, and to learn from one another. Together, we can confront the biases that affect our community." The workshop unfolds in an interactive format, encouraging participants to share their thoughts and experiences. Breakout sessions allow smaller groups to discuss specific topics, such as the impact of racial profiling on mental health and strategies for allyship. Angela facilitates a session on storytelling, emphasizing the power of personal narratives in bridging divides and fostering understanding. As Amara moves between groups, she listens intently to the conversations taking place. Some participants share their own experiences of being judged based on their appearance, while others discuss the challenges they face when trying to advocate for themselves or their loved ones. The air is thick with emotion as stories of vulnerability and resilience emerge. In one session, a young man named Marcus speaks up, his voice trembling with emotion. "I've been stopped by the police multiple times just because of the way I look. It makes me feel like I'm constantly under suspicion, like I don't belong in my own neighborhood." His honesty resonates with the group, sparking a heartfelt discussion about the realities of living under the weight of societal assumptions. Amara feels a deep connection to Marcus's experience. She steps forward, offering her support. "Your feelings are valid, and it's crucial that we acknowledge the impact of these experiences on our mental health. You're not alone in this, and together we can find ways to challenge these biases." As the workshop progresses, Amara and her friends lead discussions on actionable steps participants can take to combat racial profiling in their daily lives. They emphasize the importance of allyship, encouraging attendees to speak out against prejudice when they witness it, and to educate themselves about the experiences of marginalized communities. "We all have a role to play in creating a more equitable society," Dr. Patel states passionately. "It starts with listening and learning, but it doesn't end there. We must actively challenge our own biases and those of others." The workshop concludes with a call to action. Amara encourages participants to take what they've learned and implement it in their lives, urging them to commit to ongoing conversations about race and discrimination. Change doesn't happen overnight, but every conversation we have brings us one step closer to a better future. As the attendees leave, Amara feels a surge of hope and gratitude. The workshop has not only provided a platform for discussion, but has also fostered connections among individuals who may have never interacted otherwise. She sees new friendships forming and a sense of community emerging from the shared commitment to combat racial profiling. In the weeks that follow, the ripple effects of the workshop become evident. Participants begin to share their experiences on social media, creating a dialogue that extends beyond the walls of the hospital. Amara receives messages of gratitude from attendees, who felt empowered by the discussions and inspired to take action in their own lives. One evening, while scrolling through her social media feed, Amara stumbles upon a post by Marcus. He shares a heartfelt reflection on the workshop, expressing how it encouraged him to speak out about his experiences. "I felt heard for the first time," he writes. "I'm committed to being part of the change we want to see in our community." Reading his words, Amara realizes the impact of their efforts. The workshop has ignited a spark within many individuals, prompting them to become advocates for change. This realization fuels her determination to continue the conversation and explore additional avenues for outreach. Inspired by the success of the workshop, Amara and her team begin planning follow-up events, community forums, educational series, and even partnerships with local schools to promote awareness among younger generations. They envision a movement that extends beyond their immediate community, reaching into schools, workplaces, and neighborhoods. As Amara reflects on her journey, she feels a profound sense of fulfillment. The trauma of her past experiences has transformed into a source of strength, propelling her to advocate for change. She understands that the road ahead will be challenging, but she is ready to face it head on. With renewed determination, Amara embraces her role as a catalyst for social change. The journey may be long, but she knows that every step forward brings them closer to a world where understanding, empathy, and equality reign. And in that pursuit, she is no longer just a victim of circumstance. She is an agent of change. In the final chapter, Amara, Lisa, Angela, and Dr. Patel stand together in the hospital conference room, a space that has transformed from a place of tension to one of empowerment. They gaze at the faces of their friends and colleagues gathered around them, each one a testament to the community's resilience and commitment to change. The air is thick with anticipation as they prepare to share their vision for the future. Amara takes a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. "We've come a long way since that day in the lobby," she begins, her voice steady. "What happened to me was not just an isolated incident. It reflects a broader issue within our society, one that we all have a responsibility to address." Lisa nods in agreement, stepping forward to emphasize the importance of unity. "The workshop we held was just the beginning. It sparked conversations that we must continue, not only among ourselves but also within our families, workplaces, and communities. We cannot afford to stay silent." Angela, ever passionate about social justice, interjects, "Education is our most powerful tool. We must educate ourselves about the histories and experiences of others to foster empathy and understanding. This means confronting our own biases and recognizing the privileges we may hold." Dr. Patel joins in, his tone serious yet hopeful. "As healthcare professionals, we have a unique opportunity to model behavior that promotes equality and respect. Our interactions with patients should reflect the values we advocate for: compassion, understanding, and dignity for all, regardless of their background." Amara looks around the room, her heart swelling with pride as she observes the nods of agreement from her friends and colleagues. "Together, we can make a difference," she declares with conviction. "It starts here, in this room, but it must extend far beyond these walls. We need to engage in conversations about diversity and equality, reinforcing that every individual plays a critical role in fostering a society built on respect and understanding." The audience responds with a ripple of applause, a wave of encouragement that fills the room with energy. Amara feels a surge of hope as she realizes the potential impact of their united efforts. She shares her vision for future initiatives, monthly discussions, community outreach programs, and collaborations with local organizations dedicated to social justice. As she lays out the plans, she speaks about the importance of bringing in speakers from diverse backgrounds, sharing stories that can illuminate the experiences of marginalized individuals. "We want to create an environment where people feel safe to share their narratives," she explains. "By listening to one another, we can break down the barriers that divide us." Angela emphasizes the need for action, encouraging attendees to take what they learn and apply it in their daily lives. Challenge the assumptions you encounter in conversations, advocate for your friends and colleagues who may not have a voice, and hold yourself accountable for your actions, she urges. This is how we create change. Amara continues, I encourage all of you to become advocates in your own right. Share what you've learned with your families and friends. Let's create a ripple effect that spreads through our community. Together, we can influence change at every level, from our local neighborhoods to broader societal structures. The discussion flows into a Q&A session where participants express their thoughts and concerns. Some share their own experiences with racial profiling, while others ask for advice on how to respond when they witness discriminatory behavior. Amara and her friends take the time to address each concern thoughtfully, reinforcing the message that change starts with each individual's willingness to engage. As the meeting draws to a close, Amara reflects on the journey they have undertaken together. The scars from her earlier experience are still present, but they are accompanied by a newfound strength and determination. She feels a deep sense of purpose, knowing that she is not alone in this fight. Remember, Amara concludes, the work we do is not just for ourselves but for those who will come after us. We owe it to the next generation to pave the way for a more inclusive and understanding society. Let's continue this journey together, hand in hand, as allies and advocates for change. The room erupts in applause once more, a powerful affirmation of their collective commitment to this cause. As the attendees begin to mingle and share contact information, Amara watches as connections are forged, friendships are deepened, and a sense of community flourishes. Lisa, Angela, and Dr. Patel gather around Amara, smiles lighting up their faces. We did it, Lisa says, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. This is just the beginning. Yes, Amara agrees, her heart full. And I can't wait to see where this journey takes us. As they leave the conference room, Amara feels the hope of a brighter future. Together, they are building a movement grounded in understanding and compassion, a testament to the strength of unity in the face of adversity. The journey ahead may be challenging, but with each conversation and each connection made, they are transforming their community one step at a time. And in that transformation lies the promise of a world where respect and understanding are not just ideals, but lived realities for all. With renewed energy, they step into the world outside the hospital, ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead, united in their mission to foster a society that values every individual's dignity and humanity.